Just getting started or feeling stuck? Wherever you're at, the VO Dojo is here to help you take your voiceover career all the way. Get the training, support, and connection you need to guide you every step of the way, from I don't know to working pro. You get a rock-solid foundation and all the tools you need for your sustained, successful voiceover career. Mindset, skill set, and real-world experience, all in a hands-on, hearts-in, supportive community. Join us at thevodojo.com.
Welcome, everybody. Hello. Thank you for your patience.
Hello.
Hi. There we go. Lots of people. Awesome. Welcome, everybody, to the VO Dojo's Get to Know VO. This is a free monthly work webinar that we do. That is here we focus in on a topic that will shine light on something that will move your voiceover career forward or go deeper into your voiceover career. So today we are super excited to welcome back Rudy Gaskins and Joan Baker from the Sovas, from That's Voiceover, from many years of bringing excellence and community to the voiceover world. And we are going to talk about the subject of voiceover awards. Why do them? How do they work? What are the benefits of having of going through the process of the awards, and then what can happen when you are part of that process, and when becoming an award-winning voiceover artist. What does that mean? How does that work? How can you leverage and build upon that? So, Rudy and Joan, thank you so much.
Well, hello, everybody. And thank you, Tish, the hostess with the mostest. Thank you so much.
We're thrilled to be here.
Yes. And we're thrilled to talk about something that we spend mainly 12 hours a day, 6 to 7 days a week involved with. So
you didn't count the sleeping hours.
Well, I think
what sleep?
One of the things that's at the heart of the dojo is demystifying things, and
which I love.
Seems you guys are so fabulous and so amazing in who you are and what you do. And you've put your heart so deeply into the Sovas Awards. Can you tell us what the Sovas are in general, and then how did you conceive them, and what's been the evolution of them? If you want to give us lay a little groundwork, because people may or may not know exactly what it is, or you may have heard of it. What is that?
But I'm going to try to give you the short story here. It really kind of began with Joan's book, Secrets of Voiceover Success. Mm-hmm. And that led to, obviously, book signings. And the book signings were always jam-packed with all these people we had no idea were interested in voice acting. Even Barnes & Noble said, what's going on here? Where are all these people coming from? And we said, we had no idea. So we had to find larger venues to make that work and to have the time to answer the questions. And the venues got larger, and we added a contest here and there, and we sought out top voice actors and casting directors to be a part of the conversation so that people could get a comprehensive point of view of the voiceover world, because they truly were made up of mostly beginners. As that became more of a convention, a conference, we started to know just how important the stories were behind the people we were finding to speak on behalf of Sovas, to talk about voice acting, how much they had given of their lives to this craft, and how extraordinary they were. I mean, people's entire lives devoted to voice acting, no one's honoring them. No one's really thinking about it after they leave the booth. And I said, well, we've got to do more than just invite them and spotlight them. Let's create an award, not just any award. Let's really do it right and create something that's on par with any of the top awards in the world. That was our challenge. That's what we went for. And we went to the same company that designed the Oscar and the Emmys. And we took our design to them. I worked out the design initially. We took it to them and said, okay, here's what we want. Can you help us make this happen? They obliged. We created the award, and we began to, and when we created the award, of course, we created it as a solid piece that weighs like 3.5 pounds by itself. So it's on par with picking up an Emmy or an Oscar, and it's plated in gold, and it's an heirloom. It's something that you can pass down from one generation to the next. But the origin story really came out of being so impressed by the producers, voice actors, casting directors, and talent agents and the work that they do, that we felt we have to do something comprehensive. It can't just be the trailer awards and the Audis. There's all these other categories that are being ignored. And so we now have like 120 categories across 6 different languages. Plus, there's an international category that accepts 12 different languages.
Wow.
So and there's still people contacting us and saying, can you add this category and add that category? And so there's more out there to do. But that's, I think, that's sort of the origin story as I see it.
Yeah.
And I want to add that, so when Secrets of Voiceover Success came out, it was exactly 20 years ago.
Wow.
This year it was, so at the time, there were people interested in voice acting, but there were also people that were curious about what it was. So that's actually how the book signings started. They started as book signings, but then the questions we were getting were some people were like, what's a voiceover? Like no one kind of knew what it was at that time. So a lot of energy got created around our book signings, addressing those questions and answering those questions in such a way that people started to get excited about voiceover. Now, some people, a small handful, thought, okay, that's not for me. But the majority of the people that would come and they got their questions answered by people like Don LaFontaine, because Don LaFontaine was in Secrets of Voiceover Success. I had some major voice actors in there. By the way, I started voice acting in 1991. So in that, we had the book, but also Rudy, being my boyfriend, my fiance, and then my husband, he would always get wind of how the industry was happening. In New York, you had to go to auditions, and you had to go to auditions up to 2020. So all this time, you'd go to auditions, you'd be in a lobby, you talk to other voice actors as you're working on your script before you would get called in. One of the major themes was how voice actors were the lowest on the totem pole in terms of commercials, in terms of promos, in terms of getting acknowledged and attention for the craft that it takes. Because unfortunately, in some ways, voice actors make it so easy. When you're really good, you make it so easy that they were thinking, this is easy, and they're getting all this money. So there was actually some resentment. So I think partly me learning about this and me telling Rudy, it kind of cultivated itself over years that voice actors needed to be acknowledged and on par as these other creative directors and these other producers that somehow had it in their head that this is easy. So,
yeah.
Yes. So that's how the dynamic created, in the sense that we really wanted to make an impact. Like Rudy said, the actual award itself, we didn't want it to be something you could get off the shelf in New Jersey in a garage. By the way, we live in New Jersey, so okay. So we wanted it to be an heirloom, and we put in a lot of time, money, and effort for that to happen. Just like we partnered with a platform that actually partners with other awards platforms, like the Audis, like the Emmys, and they've created a platform for submissions to take place. So Rudy, in particular, works very closely with our partners at Open Waters. They're an incredible platform. So it makes the playing field very level. Plus, we have global judges that judge each category. Each category gets judged by 7 people. They're all in their homes. They don't talk to each other. They all have different assignments. And I'm also a judge for the Emmy, so I know You get assignments and you work on those assignments and you score them. And then everything comes together in terms of who gets nominated or how the nominations come out and then who wins. It goes through algorithm. But what I'm saying is that we are in the business of creating a playing field that's as level as can be, working with the top-notch people that do it for a living. And they have been doing it for other award shows that have been much longer than us and more established.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, one thing that's come out of this is we've talked to creative directors and producers who are at the ad agencies and television networks, and they have expressed surprise when they discovered that there was an award show for voice actors. I'm talking about that kind of surprise when one eyebrow goes up and they go, "Oh, it never occurred to me that they were deserving in that level, on that level." So it's definitely had an impact on their mindset.
Friend, let me just take your Clio away and see how that feels.
Yeah, that's right. And some of them in the beginning, because we wanted the producers to submit as well, there are categories for producers and creative directors.
Right.
And they would say to us,
casting.
"Well, we don't want to submit an award for a voice actor. We want awards for ourselves." So we created categories for them.
Interesting.
But I do want to say, in terms of the importance of an award, one of the importances is the people that would hire you, they're actually doing and focusing on award-winning work in their areas. So that speaks their language. You're speaking the language of the people that would be hiring you, right?
Yeah.
When you have a level of excellence or that's expected, they can talk to that. They can be with that because that's all they do for their clients. And that's
a really
because
great
it
point.
keeps their clients. Yes.
That's a really great point, because no matter what you as a voice actor might think about awards, for example, maybe you hate them, maybe you love them, know that the advertising community is an award culture.
Exactly.
They put aside several $100,000 every year just for applying to awards globally. And it makes a big difference with their clients when they show, "Oh, we got the Cannes Lion," et cetera.
Well, we got the
know
Clio.
that the people that you're reaching out to, they are coming out of an award culture, and it matters to them. And when they see that you are an award winner or a nominee, or even if they just recognize that you put yourself on a playing field, then they recognize something about you that is fits their mold, that is appetizing to them,
and they want to work with.
This is interesting. So little segue, but what you just said, Rudy, what is the mindset of award winners? What is the mindset? What have you found? Like, let's talk about mindset around awards, because what you just said was you need to recognize that there's something that you've done that you would make the effort, invest the application fee, take the time and energy to. But how do you? Let's talk about mindset of how do you think of yourself as an award-winning voiceover actor? Let's open that up. And would you
actually? Rudy's an award-winning director, producer, writer.
There we go.
Yes. I'm the voice actor.
Well, interestingly enough, after we named this award, the Voice Arts Awards, and it was out there in the world after the inaugural ceremony, I got an email from a woman who wanted to debate whether voice acting was an art. And she basically felt that we had no right to call it an art because it just isn't. That was coming from her perspective. That was how she felt about her own work, that it couldn't be considered art because she didn't consider herself artistic. And that, I think, is one of the mindsets that someone could have. And it has to do with how they feel about themselves, not with actually taking it upon themselves to define art. And art can be anything that you pour your heart and soul into. It could be cooking. It could be painting, but museums are not the exclusive venue for what is to be considered art. The things we do and how we put our heart and soul into it is what determines that. And we can declare our artistry on any level. So I didn't fight with her over this. I listened and agreed to disagree and let her have the last word and went on. In fact, this week's newsletter, Sovos newsletter, will talk about that experience and what I learned from talking with this young woman.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a mindset.
Recognizing ourselves as artists is one thing. Yeah. But what would you say, Joan?
I think the mindset is the general mindset in general about yourself and versus getting work, because it's really about getting work, right? And then after you get the work, then you might go, this is a great piece, because sometimes you hear your work out there and it's like, why did they choose that take? You know what I mean? So it's really about how you feel about your work in general, how you feel about the process in terms of getting work and voice acting, and how you feel about yourself doing it. And not everyone feels great. Some people are in the middle. Some people have a lot of confidence. So if you have a lot of confidence, you're probably not going to mind submitting your work. If you're unsure about yourself, then you might be leery about awards. But then are you leery about auditioning? Because that's how we get our work, is auditioning. And it is, even though you may feel like I compete with myself, which you absolutely do, but we do come from a field of competition, right? And I was telling Tish earlier and Kelsey that I feel like we're in a tournament and the last man standing wins. So it's like a tennis game. It starts out with a lot of people, and as time goes on, it whittles down, and then it's between two people and then the one person. It's kind of like voiceover as well. You have to have the mindset, I think, you don't have to, but have the mindset of that you want to be the last man standing in your arena. And if you truly are, you're not going to mind getting other ways of getting attention for what you do, because we're in show business. And how show business gets work is like when you see the credits at the end of a movie, that's how people get work. Oh, so-and-so worked on that. Oh, so-and-so did, the gaffing. Oh, so-and-so wrote that. And then they get calls for work. It's the same thing with awards. When you find out someone wins an award in the behind the scenes of show business, you'll contact them. Oh, like they'd be perfect for this project. So how people get work in show business is the credits, is the recognition of the work itself. So the mindset is really to embrace how show business works. It doesn't work
a lot of these different mindsets when we first set out. There were people who would just say straight out, "Oh, I don't believe in awards. I think it's a horrible thing, and
there's no belief.
Fact, it erodes the culture of the art." And those same people applied to the Voice Arts Awards 2 years later, and some of them won. So that tells you something about that mindset. It's something that shows up from an emotional place that isn't necessarily how you really feel about your work.
Right.
But it's so almost like you're protecting yourself from the possibility of not being acknowledged.
Rejection.
But the first point of not being acknowledged is when you don't put yourself on the playing field. You're the one who's not acknowledging you.
Yes.
Wow. Yes.
Work it, Gaskins. Work it. Yes.
Yes. And it seemed like either we don't believe in ourselves, or there's a third mindset of we're too hard on ourselves. Like that's not good. That's not good enough. I wouldn't say that's good enough, but it may be extraordinary and maybe the thing that wins.
Right.
And the whole idea of the process, the way you describe the last man standing, the tournament, each month we have a working pro workout called the VO Dojo Pro Fight Club. That is exactly, it's without we call it a fiercely friendly face off, but it has that element of this is how the process goes. And people are chosen who it comes to. We listen to everybody. The decision maker says that person would have made it to this round. Then everybody gets to work. And then we get an answer for that particular moment in time with this particular group of people on this particular scripts in this particular genre, okay, that person was the chosen one for that one. But it is that process that is part of our daily existence.
And it's showbiz process.
Yes.
We didn't make it up, right?
Yes.
It's something to embrace as opposed to buck up against.
Mm-hmm.
There may be issues that you personally have that you have to work through. It's better to work through them if you want to be in show business because of the way it's set up.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of license to believe in yourself. You have a lot of license to dig into the craft and become a master at it. You have a lot of life. There's a lot of freedom in your own agency, right? As opposed to someone else has it. Someone else, is taking it away from me. When you have a certain agency about yourself that's powerful, submitting into an award show, whether it's Voice Arts Awards or not, is not a big deal. It's part of marketing. It's part of the way show business works. It's not necessarily something, I believe in it or not. Whether you can not believe in it and still win an award. You can believe in it and not win an award. It has nothing to do with belief.
Right. Well, and then
accept yourself. Believe in yourself.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I love this phrase, your own agency. I think a lot of times we disempower ourselves going, I need representation. I need an agent, which you do, which it helps.
Which you do.
But understanding that you always have your own agency, that's a beautiful little
and that's
phrase.
The missing. As opposed to it's someone else's fault or it's someone else's responsibility. A lot of times when you take responsibility in learning something, getting through something, the agent shows up. The job shows up.
Yeah, there we go. Because
the manager shows up because you're willing to own it. You're not in your mindset going, it's their problem. It's their fault. No one wants me. They don't like me.
Yeah.
Work on your own agency.
That's beautiful. Now, the other thing, this is cool how this discussion is just segueing, because it's a business of show business. And you spoke of, having the vision of having the Sovas Awards being on par with Oscars, on par with Emmys, on par with award processes. I think we, particularly those of us who live in major metropolitan areas, when award season is coming up because you see the billboards, you see the for your consideration, you see
the
clips in your feed, but that doesn't happen. That doesn't just happen. That is investment of time, energy, resources, strategy,
and money.
Time, and it like that's part of the process. And then when your film or you as an actor win an whatever award, then your business gets that boost of recognition, of awareness.
And it has a lingering impact. Because it's not just once you have that winning status or that nominee status, it lives with you for the rest of your life. Every movie or television show that is produced will identify you as Oscar winning or Oscar nominee, and then you consider watching that movie or television show more deeply than you might otherwise. It's got a couple of Oscar-winning actors in it. Maybe I should just give it a shot.
And that's
how it happens. We sit there scrolling through Netflix and so on, and we try to figure out what we want to watch. And when we see an award winner, we say, maybe I should stop here.
Yeah. No, before we got, you mentioned earlier that advertising agencies build this marketing into their budgets, right?
Yes.
You're going to set a certain aside some amount of money for this, or agencies or studios.
Yes.
So here's a question. When, like, when and how should we as voiceover or what should hold on, let me rephrase that. What is a good way of thinking through setting a budget and time and energy for awards? At what level, how much, like how, and we can, this might be
Sure.
a corollary of like, what is the process and what do we need to take into consideration? That might be a good segue there, but
Yeah,
I'd actually
that's a tough question because it really depends on
your
first and
but
foremost
your budget.
whether the actor already has a strategic plan on paper,
mm,
where they know what expenses they have for the year related to their voiceover business,
Or marketing
and
or
they have a
marketing in
sense of
general.
and they have a sense of uh, what their average earning is,
right.
and then they can stop and say, okay, what can I afford to spend on awards, on
Right.
award entries, and then you make that determination. Can I enter 3 items? Can I enter 10? Can I enter when the super early bird is in effect, which is a real thing? When you see super early bird, you might think, oh, they're just trying to get me in the door. No, it's cheaper. And it's only going to go up from there. So
Right.
take advantage of it if you have the the money on hand. Take advantage
Yeah.
of the super early bird.
Yeah.
Um,
I do want to add something if I can, and that is any award show worth their druthers is going to have a fee to submit. That is because it actually takes work to work. If you get thousands of submissions, we have to hire people to help us put it in the right categories, make sure that it, playing the whatever was submitted, making sure that it's clear, that it's not, so there's actually work involved. By the way, you can look at it like if you were going to go to 5 different colleges, there was 5 different colleges you were choosing, you'd have to pay an entry fee to enter into any college that you want to go into, but it doesn't mean you'll get into the college. It's that setup, right? So if I enter and I enter Juilliard, I have to pay the entry fee. They look at my submission, they put it through their process, which takes people. And then I don't get in. So yes, I might be disappointed, but you move on and you learn from it. Maybe what you learn from it is the next time I submit an essay, I'm going to work deeper. I'm going to come up with another way of expressing myself. Like it's still growth. It's still work.
Yeah.
It's not a waste or in vain. And also our submission fee is actually rather low if you compare it to other awards. So like, for example, if you wanted to submit into the Emmys, it's literally like $600 or $700 for one entry. Yes, it is. I've looked it up. But there's like the Reed Awards, there's the Audi Award. Everyone has that fee because it takes work behind the scenes.
Right.
Where people get paid to do it.
It's a business structure. It's a business model.
Yeah.
You just can't jump out and give things away for free. You find a way to build it in if you do. So, for example, there is an award show that I'm aware of where it's free to enter. And of course, when it's free to enter, any and everybody enters. Nobody cares how good the work is, just get it in there. So that's one level of, in my mind, that's already bringing things down the level when you just say anybody can toss in anything they have on hand. And
interesting.
And then you build the cost of the off-the-shelf award into the price of tickets to go to the show. And so it looks like it's free. But I think most of us have been around long enough to know nothing is free. So you have to look beyond that idea and figure out what's really going on.
Right.
We're more
or where else are they charging high, that makes up for the free.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now we talked a little bit about this as we were coming on, but and you just said this, Rudy. The overall thing about it is how are we approaching all of this as a business? How are awards part of our the business and of our business? You mentioned the idea of what are your basic business things that you need to run a business. You brought up
Yes.
lemonade stand. I said this is something we teach at the dojo. Like when you're brown belt at the dojo, if you were let's take a simple concept of a product that a child literally can run a business of a lemonade stand.
As they do.
When you think it through, because a child can put up a table, make a pitcher of lemonade, and be cute for an afternoon. That's not a business. That's a lemonade stand for a day. A lemonade stand business requires you thinking through, why are you doing this? Who are you? Like all of the things that need to happen.
Right.
So I heard you say, Rudy, when is your business at a place that you can make investments from what your business is making, right, into your marketing? And then also, when is your business ready to benefit from having an award, an award nomination or an award, right? Because you're like, hey, it's just me. I don't know, like, and we love this. We love being at like, hey, it's just me. However, is your when you send in your application, what is your business in shape to benefit from, to leverage and maximize that,
Yes.
right?
I believe it is. It's more with an award. You've got now third-party recognition.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really, hey, it's me. It's somebody else is talking about me.
Right.
Right.
Someone else took a look at my work and said, this is worthy of an award. So this is what we hire publicists for. This is what we hire PR people for, is to help get that benefit of third-party recognition.
Mm-hmm.
So when you win an award, the strategy that you want to put behind that is letting people see that someone else acknowledged your talent. Because obviously you as a talent are going to put on your website your testimonials and a blurb about how great your voice is and how versatile you are, et cetera. But everyone expects you to do that because it's your product and you're the product.
That's right.
And when someone else says that person is great, then you stop and listen. The buyer stops and listens. Especially keep in mind, you're talking to buyers that come from an award culture. So they already have a respect for people who win awards.
Yes, that makes sense. Now, can we talk about, so let's say can we talk about how does one approach? Like when do the SOVAs happen? When do awards open? Can you talk through the process a little bit behind the scenes of what goes into
the planning?
What happens? Because we see send in your applications. Okay, so and so won. Right. That's what we see.
Okay.
And what should we know? Like, what should we mark in our calendars? We know that award season applications start here.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what can you give us a little BTS on the process?
Yeah. One I would point out at the bottom of our website page on the home page, at the very bottom.
Sovas.org.
Yes, sovas.org. At the very bottom, there's a button that says quick links. Well, not a button, but there's a title that says quick links. One of those quick links is a calendar. And if you go to that calendar, you're going to see where everything stops and ends from when the awards started, I think back in March, through January 18th, when winners will be announced. So that's one. And there's a lot of other great information on the website that you can comb through, but you can start there just to get a sense of what is the calendar. Also, when you go on to enter the awards under the rules and fees, you're going to see, thank you, Kelsey. Yes. Under the rules and fees, you're going to see when the super early bird is, when the early bird is, when the regular sales kick in, and how the pricing changes as a result. The closer we get to the award show, the busier we get with managing QC meaning quality control of the awards that come in, because so you've got thousands of awards coming in, and you got to make sure that Spanish didn't get mixed up in the Portuguese, and the Portuguese didn't get mixed up
Thousands
in
of
the English.
entries.
And
Yes.
that what was submitted as a promo is a promo, not a commercial.
And these things
So
do happen, and they have to be in the correct, again, integrity. It has to be in the correct category in order for the judges to judge. Otherwise,
yes.
they'll dismiss it.
So
They'll
before there are any
disqualify it.
judging assignments created, we listen to every single entry just to make sure it's in the right place, in the right language.
And I'll add something in having had the honor last year and returning this year of being a judge. It so matters, like following
Yeah, it does.
instructions. Like
Yes.
it's like, oh wow, this person, like either I have to do work to find it, or but wow, you didn't even listen. You like and it informs, like it could be the best voice, but there's something that informs of like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, carry on.
Yeah, well, that's an excellent point, because we get questions sometimes like, hey, I see that the rules say the spot has to be no more than 2 minutes long, but I've got one that's just 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Would that be okay? Can I submit it?
No.
And we tell them, you can submit it, but the judges don't have to listen to more than 2 minutes. It would be up to the judge. So what I would do is put yourself in the judge's shoes and decide, what would you do if someone submitted something that didn't adhere to the rules exactly? Would you take points from them?
But that's what I mean by creating a even playing field. That is a great example of creating an even playing field. Yes, you can submit it, but the judges don't have to hear the whole thing, only what they're required to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And
but these things do matter. And I would also think that some judges may be like, they didn't follow direction, even though it's on my assignments.
Some judges are very strict.
Some of them are very strict.
Judging is very personal. It's not something where we're holding their hands. We're dealing with people who are experts at what they do. And they're making choices based on a variety of things. It's not always as strict as just the criteria. It is, did they follow the rules? Did they put their personal name on this piece when the rule says you're not supposed to have your name on it, so that the judges aren't swayed by knowing who you are? Except in some cases where some cases like body of work, we know who you are. But in most cases, we don't want to know who you are, because it could cause a judge to abstain from voting on your work. Or it could cause a judge to say, hey, you broke the rule. I'm giving you a low score just for that alone. I've seen judges that never score higher than 5 out of 10. 5 in their mind is excellent. But everything they score is along those lines. Because as Joan mentioned earlier, there's an algorithm, and that algorithm checks the scores to see if there's any anomalies. To see if a judge is always scoring in the same sort of frame of mind, or if all of a sudden they gave all these high scores and then a super low score. Then they pull those, the accountants pull those scores and say, hey, this is what's happening. What do you want to do? And in some cases, we'll contact the judge and say, why did you score all these things so high? And then suddenly a low score for this person because the work seems on par with the rest. What's going on there? And if they can't give us a decent answer,
then we disqualify the score.
That score.
Right. That's cool to know.
But that's what I mean by an even playing field. We're dealing with people that are experts at awards platforms. So all these things are also built in. You can also abstain if you're a judge, because when judges get their assignments, they don't know who they're listening to unless you happen to recognize it, but they don't know who's involved and who they're listening to. Again, to make it an even playing field. So, and no one's sitting around talking to each other. The reason why I'm addressing this is because sometimes we hear things like, oh, so-and-so was a judge and they don't like me. That's why I didn't get nominated. That's not why. Because there's 7 judges to each submission. That's a lot of work. So when you ask Tish about what kind of goes on behind the scenes or the schedule, one of the schedules to it is gathering the 250 so judges for categories that they're experts in. That takes a lot of work to do that. Some people come back like Tish And then other people fill out the form to judge newly, and they also put their contacts. They also have a reference. And if we don't know them, we'll call the reference. So, I mean, there's even that work alone is pretty intense and takes up a lot of time.
How
To
how
do
Yeah, it's
it
like
right.
each application is a job application. We have to go check references for
Yeah.
the jurors to make sure that they.
How many people are on your Silvas team? Because you mentioned when we did Ask the Sensei, you mentioned that a lot of your time and energy is making sure that this event happens all year round, right? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
what is behind the scenes in terms of your team, and what does it take? What does it
Well,
take
our
to put the
our
Silvas?
team is made up of our board of directors and the international ambassadors. And the international ambassadors, they're the ones who do the translations for their different languages and keep us honest about how to reach out to the different cultures and present things in a proper fashion with respect and effectiveness. So we couldn't do it without them. And that's a big part of the outreach to different languages. And it's a big part of how we keep an even keel. Aside from those folks, we hire contractors who help us manage production. So as we start to move into hiring camera people and sound people and venues and producers and backstage people and directors and assistant directors, those people become a contract staff, and there's a lot of them. If you've ever been to the Voice Arts Awards, you'll see a lot of hubbub with people who are actually just making it happen, even though they're sort of seamless in their approach. They're outside and they're inside, backstage, making it happen. So the core group of us is just our assistant, Joan and myself in the office, and then the
12 hours a day,
members,
6 days a week.
yeah, and then the board members and the international ambassadors, and then the contractors that are hired. And they're working with us all the time. For example, we have a graphic designer. So he's working with us throughout the year. We have a designer who just manages animation. So he's there throughout the year to help us do things.
And I just want to add, there's Open Water Platform, the platform for the Voice Arts Awards. There's also them, and they just focus on the behind the platform work. But also Rudy works with them doing that.
So they have their own team.
Yeah.
This year, That's VoiceOver will be online, and we're working with a company called Meeting Tomorrow. And they have a platform which is kind of like a souped up form of Zoom, so that we can do more things, and sponsors can have branding, and commercials can be run, video commercials can be run. But it's a much better format, much better platform for making the seminars go smoothly and allowing us to do all the kinds of things we want to do, and especially having the relationship between the speakers and the voice actors who are joining us be as seamless and as personal as possible.
Right. But, honestly, I just want to add that, so when I was a voice actor, I spent my days trying to get clients, auditioning, getting clients. It's actually what Rudy and I do every day, because we have to get sponsors, right? Sponsors are what really helps pay for all the people we're talking about that we have to hire. So sponsors, ticket sales, entry fees, all of that goes into one bowl, and it all goes to pay for the events. Because we're a nonprofit, we're not making a profit, or I should say Rudy and I are not making a profit. Everything goes back into the nonprofit. And it's what makes the events work. But Rudy and I are the ones that are constantly reaching out to sponsors.
Yeah. Which
because take a lot.
Might be a good segue to play the sizzle video that you wanted to share.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then I
Because
wanted,
this is a reel towards getting sponsors for the Voice Arts Awards, and that for Society of Voice Arts and Sciences.
Because as you can imagine, you put together a sophisticated presentation in PowerPoint, and you send these things off to, Apple TV and Netflix and whoever, companies that sponsor, and they don't necessarily look at it. So you got to try other things. So we're sending them a sizzle reel, less than 2 minutes, in hopes that they'll kind of take a look at that at least, because it feels like they're just scrolling on their phones. And that's what this is, a sizzle reel for sponsors.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the sizzle reel.
Okay, let me know if y'all can hear it. I'm gonna skip to like here where the audio starts.
No.
Or the back.
Zoom, why do you do this? Oh, here we go. Okay, people in the back, tell me.
Now I can hear it.
Okay.
Okay, so we just want to start from the beginning. Here we go.
Now we're not hearing it though, Kels.
There's no
Yeah,
sound.
here.
There's no sound.
Okay, sorry.
What if your brand stood beside the voices that shape culture?
I am honored, I'm humbled, I'm speechless.
This is what a commencement is needed.
And the rising creators who define its future. For over a decade, the Society of Voice Arts and Sciences has cultivated the Voice Arts Awards and That's VoiceOver Career Expo, honoring the unseen stars of storytelling. The voices behind our movies, games, audiobooks, commercials, and more. 2 flagship events that reverberate through a global community throughout the year. Sovas connects your brand to the beating heart of the creator economy, a global community of professionals, influencers, and cultural entrepreneurs, 80% of whom run small businesses, with real buying power and influence. Sponsorship isn't just about logo placement, it's about brand trust, industry access, and standing for something bigger. In a time when the arts need more support than ever, your partnership becomes a statement that creativity matters, that every voice deserves to be heard. From the excitement of the red carpets to real-world education and job creation, your brand becomes part of something transformational. Join us, sponsor a legacy, empower the next generation of creators, and place your brand center stage during the most inspiring week in voice and the career movement shaping its future. Let's raise the voices and the brands that move the world together. We hear you.
Nice. In some ways, it's powerful in the discussion that we've been having today of behind the scenes. That is the heartbeat of the business, and there's nothing mercenary about that.
No.
Everything about that sizzle reel was win, 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 right? And then we add ourselves in here as voice artists, and we are part of that
That's right.
legacy. I'm getting like I just got shivers. Like
I want to add that the voice talent won last year at our CBS Talent Spotlight. His name is Devin Ireland. He was the voice for it. And I had earlier said that as a voice talent, I spent my time coming up with ways to connect with clients. It's the same thing, what we're doing at Sovas in terms of connecting with sponsors.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit more.
And it's interesting how that happened, because there's a contest that anybody can enter called the Audition Spotlight with CBS, local CBS in California. And Devin applied for that. It was culled down from about 400 or so people to 6 by the time they chose the winner, and Devin was the winner. We heard him on that, and when it came time to do this sizzle reel, we said, "Hell, how about that Devin guy?" Because he put himself on the playing field.
right.
He didn't come asking for a job; he just put himself out there, and we got a chance to see him work on stage,
Right.
against all odds, so to speak, or in front of an audience. He couldn't do it privately in his booth. He's got 400 people looking at him as he's working, and so it led to a job for him.
Yeah.
More than one.
One job,
Right.
many jobs, yes.
Yes.
Would love to wrap up our discussion part with a question. I know this whole thing and everything that you guys do is so close to your hearts, and from your hearts. Before we segue to questions, which if you have questions, guys, you can start putting them into the chat, and we'll move to question and answer in just a second. But of all the years that you've been doing the Sovas from inception to now, what are moments that stand out to you? Like what are moments that really mean a lot to you, for whatever reason?
I will say for me, so what means a lot to me is like sometimes, whether it's on social media or privately, people will go through their story in terms of what led them to get nominated or what led them to an awards. And because Rudy and I are administration, as we do like 6 to 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, so we're always at our computers. So sometimes getting outside of the work and hearing the results, like when I hear people talk about the emotional journey they got to from our events, that changes my heart. That kind of, because there's so many obstacles for us that we have to work through. It's just never easy. Every year is like, there's always some bigger challenge than the next. So when I get outside of what I'm doing and I get a sense of how it's impacting everyone else's career, but in a deeply emotional way, that just softens my heart and it makes it even clearer why I'm waking up in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's so many testimonials, whether they come through, people get articles in newspapers, and I mean all over the world, where it focuses on them and pictures of them winning and telling their story, whether it's on social media and they're telling their story, whether they emailing us and telling us how this particular thing affected them that we did. That to me is the gift.
Mm-hmm.
That to me brings clarity in terms of why I'm waking up in the morning. Because I'm not necessarily doing this for me, but I'm doing it because I've always had a dream of meeting everybody in the world, believe it or not. And so in a sense, the Voice Arts Awards for me has made my dream come true, and meeting people I normally would never, ever know existed in all parts of the world. So that's what means a lot to me. Like it means everything.
Yeah. How about for you, Rudy?
In a lot of ways, it's really the same. I remember the very first Voice Arts Awards, Scott Brick, the great narrator of audiobooks, won the first award. And it meant a great deal to him because he had been dealing with cancer, and his book was about health practices around taking care of one's body. Mm-hmm. And so it meant so much to him to win an award for that and to be able to share what had happened in his life. And so he was crying through his entire speech, but if it had been me, I wouldn't have gotten the words out, but he was able to get the words out. And,
he's a voice actor.
Yeah. And that's something that keeps happening as Joan has been reflecting on. And that's when you know that you made a difference. And it's a surprise every time, because we're not necessarily thinking, what difference can we make over here? What difference can we make over there? Mm-hmm. A lot of it is, nose to the grindstone. You have the big picture, and then you just have to go to work. And then all of a sudden you wake up and things are working. Something clicks.
Something clicked. Right.
And you know it from the people who express their appreciation. And I'll tell you, that makes a big difference for us, because there are those people who, for whatever reason, express the opposite of appreciation for even our existence. And this is true for anything that gets created in the world.
And has impact.
There's going to be people who reject it. And as our minds work as human beings, we tend to focus on the rejection more than all the accolades. So we go that way. So now when I see these wonderful testimonials and shares on social media by people whose lives have been impacted by taking part in That's Voiceover or the Voice Arts Awards, I say, I will not dishonor them
Yeah,
by absorbing the negativity
right.
coming from others.
It does help.
Excellent, excellent. Good, good, good. Well, before we go to questions, let's take a photo of everybody who's here. It's so always so exciting when we have more than one page, but get your beautiful voiceover faces activated. And there we go. Avengers Assemble.
Hey, everybody. Wow.
All right, ready?
Page 1.
3, 2, 1. Sovas.
And page 2.
3, 2, 1. Voice arts.
Yay. Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of announcements, do you have the dates off the top of your? I know we know where to go on the website to get all of the details, but in terms of what's happening now and application process, where are we at? And
We're now in the regular pricing period.
mhm.
If you're one of the international entries, like your language is Portuguese, Spanish, Chinese, Japanese, Arabic, or English speaking Africa, as you're going through the portal, you're going to get a message for a very steep discount. It only applies to that language. We do that because we took the time to look at the currency exchange across the world, across all the people who submit. And, not every economy is on the same footing. So we really had to make adjustments to help those folks be able to submit. And as a result, if you're in one of the international languages, as you're going through the site, you will see in red letters, here's your code, use it.
Good. So right now people can be sharing their work and putting them.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the time to submit.
Mhm.
And
Up until October 9th, which is the deadline, which was when the Voice Arts actually closes now, because it's been open since March.
Yeah, that's the important thing. October 9th
Yes.
is much sooner than, yes. Okay, so October
Yes.
9th is
right around the corner.
Yes.
yes. And we can find when we let's see, when we submit,
Uh-huh.
there's in terms of keeping in mind when we win the award, we could just win the award, right, and for our application, but going to the event, where is the event going to be this year?
We're not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
So we're scheduled for the Beverly Hilton.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And we're working with the sponsor as we speak, who's going to let us know if that's going to be the ideal way for us to go.
Okay.
So you'll know soon, probably in the next week or so, it'll be on the website where it's happening. We want it to happen
It
there.
will be in Los Angeles, not New York, right?
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just
But
like
I
thinking
do want to say that
plan.
that's voiceover is online this year.
Right. So that's
So yes, that's
everybody.
voiceovers online January 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And one of the things that we're dealing with, if I can be frank and honest with you guys, is the current political situation in America is such that a lot of the international folks are concerned about coming to America.
Mhm.
They're concerned about being able to get visas, concerned about getting a visa and coming here and maybe having some sort of problem. But there's a lot of worry there that they've been expressing to us, and we're trying to figure out just to what degree is that going to impact us this year.
Right.
And that will play into in the final analysis, how things turn out.
Right.
Right. No, that's good. That's good to know.
It's very nerve-wracking too, because we don't like to work with uncertainty.
Yes.
And no one does.
No.
Good. And we don't need to go into the details, but things to keep in mind are when you're award winner, you'll pay for getting to the awards. There's a ticket price, or
Right.
and you pay for award, like there's costs involved,
Yeah,
right?
so I mean, so
Well-
there is a cost to enter.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, you pay a fee per entry,
Mm-hmm.
and should you become a nominee, there are discounts. Nominee, we don't know the winners at that point when people are
Right.
starting to buy tickets. We just know who the nominees are. But we do give nominees a discount on attending the event.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, it is a ticketed event for tables. So it's a dinner setting,
Right.
it's just like the Golden Globes. In fact, the
Mhm.
Beverly Hilton is the same
Right. That's
venue
cool. Mhm.
for the Golden Globes. So it's set up like that. And then if you win, then you have three options. You can buy an award, you can buy a plaque, or you can buy a simple certificate.
Uh-huh.
And even if you're a nominee, you can get a plaque and a certificate.
Good to know.
I love the certificates because they're real paper and they've got this nice embossed stamp on them. I love that stuff, and they're signed by hand on a nice linen paper. So they're kind of my favorite.
Excellent. So we'll just think ahead.
So I actually want to add something, and that is that whether you're in any awards platform, you win is a win, but production companies would have to buy the award. Individuals would have to buy it because that's a separate thing. Buying the statue and what it's worth, it's not like Rudy and I are making anything from it. That's just how much it cost. Whatever the cost is, that's how much it cost. So you win in a way where you were judged, you've gone through a process, your work has been, cemented. But the actual award itself is something you buy separately. Now, you don't have to. You can just take the credit and put it on your bio. So no one's making you buy it.
Right.
Most people do because it's so special.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the part that Rudy really engaged with R.S. Owens, who did the Oscars.
Yeah.
That it's something that's an heirloom. So it's not a piece of glass coming from a garage in New Jersey.
Mhm.
Okay. But it is something that's an
I love
investment.
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Something that it's an investment. But regardless if you're an individual or a production company or, an audiobook publisher, everyone knows they have to buy the award if they win.
Right. Yeah.
You can also, yeah.
Mystify it. Yeah.
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's custom made. So a
Yes,
mold had
that's
to
why.
be created in
Yes.
order to have this award. Just like the Oscars and the Emmys, they had to do a custom mold to create
Yes.
those pieces, as opposed to when Joan says shelf in New Jersey, many awards are prefabricated and you can just,
Right.
buy hundreds.
Buy them off the shelf.
Right. Yeah.
for,
yeah.
For $10 a piece.
Right.
Yeah.
And, the main thing, right, is your peers choose you. So
Right.
whether
Right.
the award is a piece of glass or whether it's a gold-plated statue,
Gold.
the real key is your peers chose you,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And that you can put on your bio.
Right. Got it. Yeah. Okay. That's really helpful. So October 9th, and January 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and
18th. So that's voiceover January 9th, 10th, and 11th.
11th.
The Voice Arts Awards, January 18th,
Mhm.
right? And the deadline to submit into the Voice Arts Awards ends on October 9th at midnight.
9th at midnight. Okay,
Yes.
great. In terms of things that are happening here at Dojo, we do this once a month on the third Wednesday of every month, Get to Know VO. We have our free Q&A that Rudy and Joan have been a guest Ask the Sensei on the first Wednesday of every month. We've been invited to have a booth at the LA Comic-Con at the end of this month in the Akaba station. So we're very excited. So if you're going to be there, definitely come by and check out what's going on. We have a fight club. We were talking about fight clubs coming up on the 23rd. Is that right, Kels?
Yep, 23rd.
Yeah, Tuesday the 23rd with Ned Lott, who is one of the most amazing animation directors. He's worked for Disney features, Pixar features, Studio Ghibli. he's an extraordinary person who loves this work and loves working with us.
Yes,
So
he
if
is.
you have any inkling of doing anything in animation, come to be a player or a spectator there. And then also if you're on the beginning of your journey, our next, you should do voiceover, launchpad, and workout. We have a class starting in October and then one more in November. So hop in there. And you can always get my schedule or our path guide, Anderson Stinson the third. Get on our schedules to talk more. We want to meet you. We want to hear where you are and where you want to be. So that's that.
Were there any questions?
Yeah, let's get to questions. Yeah, Kelsey, why don't you take it away? What questions do we have?
Venus Crute, come on up.
Woo!
We can't hear. There you
I'm
go.
sorry.
Hi, Venus.
No, I love you, Joan and Rudy.
I love you too.
Tish. I don't know. I had several comments and questions in there, so I don't know what we're talking about. The question.
Fine to ask first.
So you had a question about that TVO is online, but how about the awards?
Oh yeah,
As I
so
said,
that's voiceover is online, but the awards are in person?
That's the dream.
Okay.
That's what we're focusing on. But to be honest with you, that is in flux as we speak. So we'll know in the next week to 10 days exactly how we're going to manage it.
But what you will know is January 18th is the Voice Arts Awards, regardless of the form.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we will announce officially that form.
Okay. I have a question I have to send you personally an email about that. So
Okay.
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 Thank you guys. Great to see you as usual.
You too. You too, Venus.
What are the questions, Kels?
Okay, Evan, come on up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, good. I have a question in terms of with the surge of AI usage and not just the voiceover industry, but other aspects of business. How do judges take into consideration if a submission uses AI like at all? Is it like an automatic disqualifier, or is it like on a curve? Like, what's the thought process on that?
Well, interesting question. If we discover that something is generated by AI, we would disqualify that entry.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. The figuring that out is the hard part.
Because this is real work. It's not like a demo. We have a demo categories as well, but I'm saying a demo is you created it. It didn't necessarily air. But everything else in the Voice Arts Awards had to have had aired. And then there's specific air dates of when it
and it has to be a work for hire.
Yes.
So that's one of the stipulations.
So you got
everything
paid.
outside of a demo reel has to be a work for hire and has to have been distributed online or through streaming or on television or radio.
Right.
But yeah, if we discovered, and the only way we would know that is if someone brought it to our attention.
Right.
Either because they just thought it would be cool, and so they tell us, "Oh, this is a mix of AI and whatever," and we would say, "Okay, you're not going to be able to submit that."
Excellent.
Because then you're talking about like the person actually putting in the work versus the machine doing the work.
Right. The voice arts is the key word,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Right.
Good.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Good question, Evan, and good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AI.
What other questions do we have, Kels?
Rich Summers, come on up.
Rich.
Hi, Joan. Hi, Rudy.
Hi, listen to that voice. Hi, Rich.
Greetings from Idaho, everybody.
Ah.
I just wanted to say really quick, I understand all the reasons for not doing the live event, but I just want to say I really have loved being able to attend the live event and meeting people face to face and shaking hands and
Totally.
and becoming motivated and getting inspired. I met Tish there. I met you, Joan, and you, Rudy, and
Yeah.
lots of people. And I hope for all of our sakes that you're able to bring back the live event at some point down the road.
Oh, of course. Next year. But we just need to find out, and it's due to the federal government issues and the barricading people from outside of the United States, where we stand. Otherwise, we would lose money if we say, oh, we're going to do it, and we put down this down payment, and then in the end, no one shows up.
Right. I get that.
Okay.
I get that. I just hope it comes back.
Yes.
I selfishly hope it comes back because I'd love to attend.
Of course it will.
Me too.
Rich, of course.
Awesome.
Okay.
So barring something dramatic happening between now and next year, we will be back in the saddle live with That's Voiceover. Shaking hands.
Let's all
put
our hands together and look upwards and hope it does not. So,
Okay. Thank you.
By the way, there are some advantages to being online for That's Voiceover. For example, Audible is planning to do a whole program at That's Voiceover, including a speed dating event with their producers. So that's something they couldn't do live because it would just cost too much money for them to bring everyone from wherever they are in the, in the world. So there are some advantages to doing it online and being able to do things we normally wouldn't have done, but we would have wanted to do.
Right. That's
right.
cool.
So I just want to say that.
that's a good point. I don't want to take any more time, but I was wondering how you're going to do the speed dating thing and the CBS audition spotlight. And
we did it before online during during COVID. And we figured out a way to do it that's just as impactful than being in person as well. I mean, it's equal. It's rival to being in person. So we've already figured that out.
It's a little more severe because
it's a little
when
more
you're
intense.
online,
yes,
when you're in person, you have a conversation with the speed dater and it kind of lingers when the alarm goes off and you kind of say a few more words and you don't exactly move right over to the next person. But when it's online, when the time is up, all of a sudden you're just in front of another person. It's just like boink and
Next thing you know,
hi.
Yeah,
and
right.
There's no time lost in between.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Good to know.
Yeah. Okay.
What are
Thanks, Rich.
Do we have?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
What are the questions, Kelsey?
Harry Cleary, come on up.
Harry. Terry. Hi.
Hi,
Oh,
Terry.
you're muted.
Unmute yourself.
Sorry about that.
Hi, Terry.
I'm doing all right. I have COVID
Good.
and my voice is funky.
Oh.
But
most
what
of the
she's
time.
not telling you is it's her first time getting it.
I've
Look
never
how
had
long
it until
it
now.
took. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I isolated myself for 2 years, so there's that.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I was locked in my home for 2 years
What's your
during
question,
COVID.
Terry?
So, Anyway, my
What's your
question. Yeah, my question is, how many categories are there for the awards?
125.
Wow, that's really cool. So you
Can you imagine us distinguishing 125 categories in voice acting? I mean, who would have thought?
No, I can't actually.
Right?
That's amazing. That really is amazing. And so, pardon me, it really does hurt to talk sometimes.
Sorry.
So the awards, that's okay. The awards is also in January. Is that right?
Yes, the actual
the reveal
takes
of the
place.
winners is January 18th.
18th.
Okay, fantastic. Pretty sure I'm going to be there.
Yay.
Pretty sure.
And the deadline, if you're going to submit again, is October 9th, midnight.
Midnight Pacific
Midnight.
time or Eastern time?
Eastern.
Eastern. Good to know. Yeah.
Eastern time.
Good.
Appreciate that.
Let's see. Who's next? Kels, do we get
Wesley Eagle, come on up.
Hey, Wesley.
Wesley.
What's going on, guys?
Hi.
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 Great seeing your lovely faces again.
You too, Wesley.
Thank you. I have two questions. Okay. One is technical, one is profound. Okay,
Okay, so Rudy will
Yeah.
answer the technical, I'll answer the profound.
I love that. All right, so number one, in terms of submissions for the 3 minutes or less clip, can it be like spliced with of different scenes instead of one continuous scene? Because say we only have bits and pieces from like the first episode that's about to air. Are we able to kind of shove that into that allotted time frame? Does that make sense? Or am I
Category are you thinking of?
Animation.
Okay, so what you can do separate clips and tie them together.
Okay.
What you can't do is edit within a clip.
What do you mean?
So we have to see the work as it presented.
Okay.
To the public.
Copy that. Okay. Dope.
That's good. Good
Perfect.
clarification.
And then the second one, when you first founded the TVAs, what was the deeper vision that you had besides just bringing more recognition to voice actors? Like, what did you want to bring in terms of shaping the craft itself?
That's the profound question. That's profound.
Like that? You like that?
Wesley, that was profound.
Thanks.
Nicely done.
I think we were trying, and what I was saying in the beginning, that I noticed that there was low morale in the voiceover world. There was low morale and there was non-acknowledgement. And in talking to Rudy, one of the reasons we brought it to bear is so that it would feed the voice actors' craft and heart and soul of being recognized from never, ever getting any kind of recognition. That alone will change the craft because it will change your relationship to the craft, right? And also, it would get you literally in the faces of the people that could hire you, marketers, producers, facilitators like talent agents and all. That was another reason why we created it, because Rudy and I knew that marketers and production companies and all, they focus on awards in their world. That speaks to them in their world. That's how not only do they generate clients, but that's how they keep them. So we knew that it would also have impact there.
Yeah. I think one thing that I noticed in this process, we didn't think of this ahead of time, but because we have the demo reel category, what we noticed happening is that new demo reel producers emerged, and there was sort of a run to get demos complete for speed dating and for the Voice Arts Awards.
Mm-hmm.
And so this kind of a new thing took place in the voiceover space in terms of, well, that's voiceovers coming with the speed dating, so this would be a good time to redo my demo reel, and then to submit that into the Voice Arts Awards.
Right.
So that was an unexpected occurrence, but it speaks to folks focusing on doing better work, improving upon whatever it is they have on hand, so that they can compete. And when you're going to be stepping in front of 30 or so casting directors, talent agents, et cetera, you definitely want to feel confident about what you're sharing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about speed dating. So it got people focused on that.
Yeah. Also, when we first started the Voice Arts Awards, actually what was the conversation in the community was, I can do it myself, kind of demo reels, or hiring someone that, they were good in music, maybe they can do my demo reel, right? And it had nothing to do with the language of demos. That actually your demo has to sound exactly how it would be in the marketplace. Your demo is used to get work, especially with facilitators. So they have to have it in a certain way, maybe even in a certain order. So we actually created the demo reel just to kind of speak to that issue, that it actually takes a team, not yourself and not your idea of how it should be, but how it really is. So we actually created the demo. We wouldn't have even thought of demo, but we created it out of that conversation that was happening actually for years. So we just wanted to speak to it, which is why there's the demo category in the first place. Yeah. And actually there's people that still think that when they're coming in. So it's if you listen to the people that get nominated, as well as people that submit, but if you hear demo reels that get the attention, you'll hear how it has to kind of the quality that it has to live. in order to get the attention you want.
Right.
But that's why we created that.
You lay that out, and then I hear another layer of win, 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 win.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's truly set up for us to win.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, I remember being on the network side, the TV network side, and making promos every day, writing and producing promos, and wanting to win awards. And I applied, put all my work into all these different award programs, and the network paid for it, so it wasn't a problem. And didn't win a thing. And I just thought, what? I'm doing this. I'm working for NBC Sports, and I don't win an award. And so I went to look at the things that did win, and I said, oh my God, they were extraordinary. They weren't just that day-to-day grind that I was doing to get out promos. They had design companies working with them. They had the kind of advertising background and deep thinking that went behind every word in the script, every image on the screen. And I had to really go some. I said, okay, I'm going to go work with the design agency, share my ideas with them, and we're going to make something happen. And then I started winning awards.
But see, that's the point. The point is it takes a team. I don't care how astute you are at being an engineer or, oh, I'm great at writing. Like our business is about objectivity, including the actual artist. When you're listening to your work, you want to be objective, not subjective, like, oh, I sound better if I say it like that. Oh, it sounds better if I do this, where it's more manipulative and subjective. It's not about that. It's about objectivity and how it lands for the audience. Right. But see, what you just said, Rudy, is like, again, it wasn't bad. You didn't win anything. You got to learn from it. You dug deeper. You got more profound at the work.
Right.
Exactly. I.e. the impact. Right.
And that's what the awards program kind of generates naturally. That you see the work that's winning, and you look at the work that you submitted, and you can kind of answer your own question as to what do I have to do to get to the next level.
Yes. And then in the meantime, you get more profound at what you do. It's not bad.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think there's one more quick question, and then we will wrap up. Thank you, guys. Mark, I think it's your last question.
The categories were on the website, and apparently Joan answered it as yes.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Okay,
good. Good. All right, everybody. Joan, Rudy, I know you are like amongst the busy. Like I described my day the other day as like the beginning of a bobsled run. Like, it's 6 a.m.
No, it's true.
And I know you have Olympic days like that too. So to have this time with you both and sharing your insights and your beautiful creation for that is here to benefit all of us and the business and art form of voiceover. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us, Tish.
Yeah, thank you.
Kelsey for keeping everything going, and thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, everybody. And for your interest and for seeking out knowledge and to seek out kind of the truth and the benefit as opposed to maybe staying in your head and coming up with things.
Right.
You were playing on the court today, and that I appreciate.
Lots to take with us today.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
October 9th. Remember October
9th.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks
Take
a lot.
care, you guys.